Yo, what up? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video today, and we are going to be talking about what just happened with the president himself. Now, if you haven't heard already, yesterday the president was banned from Twitter as well as Facebook and Instagram. There's actually multiple statements that come out from all the platforms talking about why they've chosen to ban him. If you haven't been following the news lately, I totally suggest you do. I don't know how you wouldn't know what's going on right now, but definitely check out the news on what happened with Capitol Hill the other day, and everything will definitely make sense to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read over everything, and I'll give a small little blurb about it. I won't talk too much about it because I think it's pretty obvious at this point, man. There's not too much to explain really. But want to give a shout out to my homie Firebolt for bringing some of these articles to my attention. I was aware of Twitter's ban, but I did not know about Facebook and Instagram banning them either. So yeah, once again, I appreciate y'all for letting me know about this. I talk about it, let's be about it. This first post itself is actually going to come from Mark Zuckerberg. This is actually what he put out on Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. The shocking events of the last 24 hours clearly demonstrate that President Donald Trump intends to use his remaining time in office to undermine the peaceful and lawful transition of power to his elected successor, Joe Biden. His decision to use his platform to condone rather than condemn the actions of his supporters at the Capitol building has rightly disturbed people in the U.S. and around the world. We removed these statements yesterday because we judged that their effect and likely their intent would be to provoke further violence. Following the certification of the election results by Congress, the priority for the whole country must now be to ensure that the remaining 13 days and the days after inauguration pass peacefully in accordance with established democratic norms. Over the last several years, we have allowed President Trump to use our platform consistent with our own rules, at times removing content or labeling his posts when they violate our policies. We did this because we believe that the public has a right to broad and possible access to political speech, even controversial speech. But the current context is now fundamentally different, involving use of our platform to incite violent insurrection against a democratically elected government. We believe the risks of allowing the president continue to use our service during this period are simply too great. Therefore, we are extending the block we have placed on his Facebook and Instagram accounts indefinitely and for at least the next 2 weeks until the peaceful transition of power is complete. So that is from the man himself. Keep in mind that Instagram is part of Facebook. WhatsApp is as well. So I feel like that's about as direct as it can be. Now we fast forward to today. This was literally about an hour ago. So it's 7:10 right now. This was at 6:21. So this just happened. And they had banned him yesterday, I believe, or the day before. But now they chose to follow up with a permanent ban. So the initial tweet is, after close review of recent tweets from the real Donald Trump account and the context around them, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. I didn't know you could click on a suspended account, but yeah, it's totally, see what happens when you do it. Yeah, it's not even there, man. So I clicked on this link right here, and this kind of brings up Twitter's justification of why they decided to do this suspension. So I'll read over this again and keep it simple. After close review of recent tweets from the real Donald Trump account and the context around them, specifically how they are being received and interpreted on and off Twitter, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Very similar to what Facebook said too. In the context of horrific events this week, we made it clear on Wednesday that additional violations of the Twitter rules would potentially result in this very course of action. Our public entrance framework exists to enable the public to hear from elected officials and world leaders directly. It is built on a principle that the people have the right to hold power to account in the open. However, we made it clear going back years that these accounts are not above our rules entirely and cannot use Twitter to incite violence, among other things. We will continue to be transparent around our policies and their enforcement. The below is a comprehensive analysis of our policy enforcement approach in this case. Overview. On January 8, 2021, President Donald J. Trump tweeted, "The 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America first, and make America great again, will have a giant voice long into the future.
They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form.
Therefore, shortly thereafter, the president tweeted,
"To all of those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th.
Due to the ongoing tensions in the United States and an uptick in the global conversion in regards to the people who violently stormed the Capitol on January 6, 2021, these two tweets must be read in the context of broader events in the country and the ways in which the president's statements can be mobilized by different audiences, including to incite violence, as well as in the context of the pattern of behavior from his account in recent weeks. After assessing the language in these tweets against our glorification of violence policy, we have determined that these tweets are in violation of the glorification of violence policy, and the user, Real Donald Trump, should be immediately, permanently suspended from the service." Wow. Assessment. We assessed the two tweets referenced above under our glorification of violence policy, which aims to present the glorification of violence that could inspire others to replicate violent acts, and determined that they were highly likely to encourage and inspire people to replicate the criminal acts that took place at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. The determination is based on a number of factors, including President Trump's statement that he will not be attending the inauguration is being received by a number of his supporters as further confirmation that the election was not legitimate, and is seen as him disavowing his previous claim made in two tweets by his deputy of staff, Dan Scavino, that there should be an orderly transition on January 20th. The second tweet may also serve as encouragement to those potentially considering violent acts at the inauguration would be a safe target and he will not be attending. Ooh, that I did not even think of. The use of the words American Patriots to describe some of his supporters is also being interpreted as support for those committing violent acts at the U.S. Capitol. The mention of his supporters having a giant voice long into the future, and that they will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form, is being interpreted as further indication that President Trump does not plan to facilitate an orderly transition, and instead that he plans to continue to support, empower, and shield those who believe he won the election. Plans for future armed protests have already begun proliferating on and off Twitter, including a proposed secondary attack on the U.S. Capitol and state Capitol buildings on January 17, 2021. As such, our determination is that the two tweets above are likely to inspire others to replicate the violent acts that took place on January 6, 2021, and that there are multiple indicators that they are being received and understood as encouragement to do so. Oh my goodness, dude. It's just not very surprising just how, you saw police taking selfies with the rioters. You saw a lack of security, them letting them break into the White House. They're at Nancy Pelosi's desk. You got dudes kicking down murals and just terrorizing the Capitol of the United States, man. And it's just crazy to think, dude. It doesn't surprise me. That's the thing. I've said this before. It doesn't make me mad. You know why? Because I know how somebody like myself would have been treated had I been doing something like that. I wouldn't be standing here to be able to tell you about this video. I'll tell you that much. These last 4 years have been crazy. The spike in boldness of just racism and the things that he incited, like this riot, he's desensitized you to his own bad behavior. Does that make sense? He's done so many crazy things that it gets to a point where you're just like, another day. And that's sad when you get desensitized to evil. People, you shouldn't be like that. You should always have some sort of sentiment or way to feel about things. But when you expect somebody to do the worst and they literally top themselves every time, we know it's been accepted. It's accepted by a lot of people, and a lot of people still don't have a problem with this. But they have a problem with, people protesting for racial injustice, or people standing up for themselves and being mistreated and racially profiled. But something like this makes sense because in their minds, their homie got cheated out of an election. I just think that's crazy, dude. But I'm gonna leave this video off with the homie Draymond Green, as if I really know him. NBA player, I just think he described it so well. We'll leave it off with that. But If y'all like the video, like it. If you didn't like it, it's not one of those type of videos, man. But we'll pass it on to Draymond.
It just goes to show the policing system was built against black people, black and brown people. And that's the reason those reactions are different. That's the reason someone can walk or run or bust their way through or whatever into the Speaker of the House office and put their feet on the desk like they're sitting at home on their couch, storming into a building and busting out windows and carrying podiums and all that other stuff. That's not a protest. That's a terrorist attack. And so stop using stop describing those people the same way you describe someone who just stand there and make a chant and say, we want justice, we want peace. Stop using the same word. It's disrespectful, it's ridiculous. And it's shameful, to keep calling them protesters. Not fucking protesters, they're fucking terrorists.
Real stuff, man. Real stuff. And just like that I messed out the intro, man. I messed it up. Just like that, I'm out, man. See y'all later, dude. Have a good night.